Hi class, today we're going to be talking about demonstrative adjectives. Does anyone have any idea what demonstrative adjectives are? You probably do, you just don't know the technical name for them. As you can see in this picture, we have this, that, these, and those. And these are 4 examples of demonstrative adjectives. Today we're going to be talking about demonstrative adjectives and how you would use them in Spanish. All right, before I dive into the lecture, for your warm-up today, I want you guys to complete the first 2 sections of the KWL chart. So I want you to complete the what I know section and what I want to know section. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to work on that, and then we will go over it. All right, does anyone want to share what they know about demonstrative adjectives? Katie, yes. So good. You would use demonstrative adjectives typically to point at something. That's great. Because, for example, when I say I want this, not that, usually it entails pointing in most cases, doesn't it? So that's great. Anyone have anything else? Yes, Brian. Good. So this, that, these, and those are great examples of demonstrative adjectives, and that's what they are in English, so great. Does anyone have anything to share about what they want to know about demonstrative adjectives? Alexis, yes. Good. So you want to know how they relate to Spanish and how you would use them in Spanish. Great. Anyone else? No? All right, we're about to dive into the lecture. All right, so now we're going to be talking about what demonstrative adjectives actually are. You guys had a lot of great guesses and examples at the beginning of the lecture, but now we're going to get into what it actually is. So demonstrative adjectives are adjectives that help someone distinguish which noun they are talking about. So for example, if I had the option between 2 slices of pizza, I might say, I want this slice, not that slice. So there's so many everyday instances where we use demonstrative adjectives. Does anyone have any examples of when they would use a demonstrative adjective? Good. So if you wanted to tell someone, I want this shirt, not that shirt, or I want that one over there, I don't want this one. Great. And what are we doing when we do that? We're distinguishing between 2 nouns, or in this case, 2 options, right? Great. All right, let's get into how they're used in Spanish. All right, so right here I have a chart of all the Spanish demonstrative adjectives. We're going to primarily focus on the ones that have to do with aquí and acá and ahí. We're not going to worry about the ones that have to do with ahí and allá. All right, so as you can see, we have a couple columns that distinguish between when to use which demonstrative adjectives. So we have singular demonstrative adjectives, we have plural demonstrative adjectives, we have masculine demonstrative adjectives, and we have feminine demonstrative adjectives. These are very important because it lets you know when to use which demonstrative adjective depending on the noun. So if it is a plural noun and it's feminine, then you have to use the feminine plural demonstrative adjective. So it has to match with the noun it modifies. All right? So if you want to use this in Spanish, you would do este or esta. So este is the masculine version and esta is the feminine version. If you want to say these in Spanish, it would be estos and estas. Estos is the masculine version and estas is the feminine version. All right. So if you want to say that in Spanish, the masculine version would be ese and the feminine version would be esa. If you want to say those in Spanish, the masculine version would be esos and the feminine version would be esas. Does everybody understand that? Any questions? All right, good. So I have a video for you guys to view about demonstrative adjectives, and it just gives a concise explanation of them. So you guys are welcome to view that, but I will not view that for this lesson. But you guys are welcome to view that at any time you want. So would you guys say este and ese look pretty similar in Spanish? Would you say that you have a hard time distinguishing the two? Yes. You would? Exactly. So maybe in a couple days from now, or even a couple years from now, you might have to use it and you completely forgot which one's which. So here's a little rhyme to help. This and these have T's. So when you want to say this and these in Spanish, they have to have a T in it. So este, esta, estos, and estas have T's in them. But if you want to say that or those in Spanish, they do not have T's. So it's ese, esa, esos, and esas. Sound good? Is that a good rhyme that'll help you out? Good. Great. All right. So like I said before, when you're using a demonstrative adjective, it must agree with the noun it modifies in gender and number. So for instance, if I'm using a feminine singular noun, then I must modify the demonstrative adjective to fit that noun. So for example, if I want to say this blouse, I would have to pick the correct demonstrative adjective and modify it accordingly to esta blusa, because blusa is a feminine noun, and since we're only talking about one blouse, I have to use the singular demonstrative adjective. So feminine singular would be esta, so be esta blusa. All right, so now we're going to try some together. Who wants to try blank traje? Lisa, good. Ese traje, good. All right. Does anyone try pantalones? Good. If you esos pantalones, good. All right. Who wants to try chaqueta? Good. Esta chaqueta, good. All right. Does everyone understand that? Any questions? All right. Let's move on to the next slide. All right. So now we're going to do some practice together. Does anyone have any final questions before we move on to some practice problems? No? All right. Let's get moving then. All right, in order to test your comprehension and for us to do some practice together, I want you guys to match the correct demonstrative adjective with its pair. So I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to do that, and then we will go over it after you're done. Sound good? All right. All right. So I'm going to let you guys try this fill in the blank activity. I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to work on it, and then we'll move over it. All right, so it's been about 5 minutes. Let's go over it. So I'm going to let you guys fill in the blanks for me. So, no me gusta blank camiseta. So what would this be in this case? What do we know about camiseta? It's feminine, good. And what else do we know about it? Is there more than one camiseta, or is there one camiseta? Yes, there's one camiseta, right? So it's singular. So what would be the correct translation? Remember, this and these have T's. So esta camiseta, good. All right. Now, prefiero blank blusa. What do we know about blusa? It's feminine, good. What else do we know about it? It's singular, good. It's not blusas, it's blusa, right? So what would be the correct translation? Since it's that. Esa, good. Because that does not have a T, right? All right, on to the next one. No me gusta blank pantalones. So what would be the correct translation for these in this case? What do we know about pantalones? It's masculine, right? And in this case, it's plural. So what would be the correct translation? Estos, right? Because this and these have T's. All right. Prefiero blank pantalones cortos. So, what would be the correct translation? So, we know pantalones cortos are masculine, right? And in this case, they are plural. So, what would be the correct translation? Esos, good. All right, final one. No me gusta blank abrigo. What do we know about abrigo? It's masculine, good. What else do we know? It's singular, right? So, what would be the correct translation? Este, good, because this and these have T's. Now, prefiero blank suéter. So, what do we know about suéter? It's masculine, right? And what else do we know? is singular, so it will be the correct translation. Ese, good. Ese suéter, good. All right. Good job, guys. Anyone have any questions? No? All right. All right, so now I want you guys to try a little quiz. There's only 3 questions, and it's just something to test your comprehension and how well you understood the content. Does that sound good? Anyone have any questions before they begin? No? All right, let's get started. All right, so now you're going to be given some open-ended questions. Some of these deal with translating the sentence, and another one deals with creating your own sentence. So this is combining what you recently learned about expressing preferences in Spanish and demonstrative adjectives in Spanish. Does anyone have any questions about expressing preferences before they begin this? No? Can anyone tell me how you would say I prefer in Spanish? Good. Prefiero. Good. All right. So that'll be very useful for the upcoming questions. So I'm going to let you guys try these on your own, and then we will go over each one since it's a little bit of review and a little bit of new stuff. Sound good? All right. All right. So I want you to translate this sentence. I do not like this dress. I prefer that dress. So this should be a little bit of review and a little bit of testing your knowledge of demonstrative adjectives. Does anyone know what I do not like is in Spanish? Yes. No me gusta. Good. And we just went over in the previous slide what I prefer is yo prefiero, right? Does anyone remember what a dress is in Spanish? We just went over it last week. Vestido. Good. All right. So try this sentence and then we'll come back together. Does anyone want to tell me what the sentence is? Good. No me gusta este vestido. Yo prefiero ese vestido. Good. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, so now I have this sentence in Spanish. I want you guys to translate it to English. So the following sentence is, no me gusta este traje. Prefiero ese traje. So I want you to try your best to translate it, and then we'll come back together in a couple minutes to go over it. Does anyone want to try it? All right. I do not like this suit. I prefer that suit. Good. Because suit in Spanish is traje, right? So this should all be a review for you, right? Other than the demonstrative adjective we just learned, right? All right, let's move on to the final one. All right, so based off the 2 previous sentences you saw, I want you guys to try to make your own sentence. So I'm gonna give you guys a couple minutes to work on that, and then I want you guys to share with me what you wrote. All right, anyone want to share what they wrote? Lily, all right. What'd you say? No me gusta este cinturón. Prefiero ese cinturón. Good. I don't like this belt. I prefer that belt. Good. All right. So before I wrap up this lecture, I want to ask you guys a couple questions. So what are the importance of demonstrative adjectives? So yes, they distinguish between 2 or more nouns. Good. And anyone have anything else? All right. So before I wrap up, I want you guys to finish the What I Learned section of your KWL chart, and that'll operate as your exit ticket. And then I have an assignment posted for you on Google Classroom, and this will be an independent assignment that tests your comprehension and how well you're able to handle demonstrative adjectives without assistance. Does that make sense? Anyone have any questions before they finish their KWL chart and work on their independent assignment? No? All right, well, have a nice day.